this protocol, basically some set of rules are there. So whenever you want to communicate with anything, so basically we follow some protocol. Like let us say we all are joined through this online meeting now. So there is a protocol, like we should have that link, so we can get connected to the link, and there are some like steps decided, like how to write the chat messages, how to you unmute yourself and then talk about the questions or queries and so on. All those are basically steps. So kind of protocol is like it decides upon how that communication will happen. Okay, so what are the basically handshaking will happen from client and server and so on. So all those is decided by the protocol. So there are so many protocols available for every function or every functionality as such. So as all of you know, this client server architecture works on the basis of world wide web. Okay, so like this entire internet is a collection of various web pages, various websites, various you can say content, okay, into it. So these websites are created using so many different technologies which are available in the market. Okay, so initially it is started with HTML only, hypertext markup language, then CSS, okay, cascading style sheets, then now web APIs, JavaScript. All these are the various technologies which are used to basically create the web content or web pages. Okay, then there is a HTTP protocol which takes care of transferring the various web pages to the particular server or particular client and so on. Okay, so there are some terminologies which are listed out in the bottom of this diagram. That is DNS, that is UDP, TCP, TLS and IP. All these are the various protocols available at different layers of the TCP/IP model. So basically, this entire World Wide Web works on the top of TCP/IP model. Okay, you might have heard about that TCP/IP model. Okay, this TCP/IP model is nothing but this is basically deciding that protocol stack, what number of protocols are working at what level and so on. Okay, so usually whenever you want to communicate with any server, you put up a URL. Okay, so that is called as uniform resource locator. Okay, this what are the parts of this URL? First of all, the protocol you are mentioning, that is HTTP, then colon double slash, then there is a www.domain.com. Okay, so this is a host domain to the domain which we would like to contact. Then there is a port number. So every service, okay, whatever the service you want to avail, that service has a port number associated with it, and that service you can access with the help of this port number. Then there is a total path, that is called as a resource path, where exactly those web pages are stored on the server. Okay, and finally there are some queries which may be there, like let us say you are logging to a system. Okay, so username and password has to be correct. So first of all, A is equal to B, that means your username should be equal to the username which is there in the database, and the password of that username should be also equal to the password that is present in the database. So that is a kind of query, is a part of again that URL. So this URL you put up in the browser, and accordingly the browser will take you to the required pages. Okay, so understanding the HTTP protocol, how exactly this HTTP protocol works, as I told you in the last slide, that is you are putting a URL in the browser. Okay, and that browser basically then sends this request, okay, as like this: get URL HTTP slash 1.1, that is host is equal to port number and so on. So this entire request will be sent to the server. Then the server will basically maps the URL to a particular file or a program or a particular in the present in the document directory and so on. So this particular various pages will be taken back, and this response is sent back to the client. Okay, so then client will basically format it as per the need of the particular client and the browser which is available in the client side, and that will be displayed. So this is a normal flow of the HTTP protocol. I hope all of you are getting that. If anyone has any queries till now, you can put up the messages in the chat box. Yeah, so some of you are asking that are these broadcast messages? No, basically this is we are talking about only the particular request, how that request will be processed, and how that request will be, I mean, response will be created, and how that response will be get by this particular client. So we are talking about that communication. Okay, simple communication wherein HTTP protocol is used. Okay.
Yeah, we can go ahead, sir. You can go ahead,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. Okay. So then next is over the period. This is a simple HTTP that we have just now seen. Over the period that, as all of us know that the various cyber crimes, various cyber threats have been increased a lot. So automatically there is a some development happened in the security domain as well. Okay, and due to this awareness workshops and so on, so many people are now knowing, and they are very serious about this kind of connection that they are doing. Okay, so you might have seen that, there is a HTTP as well as there is HTTPS. So HTTPS, this yes letter stands for secure. Okay, and this secure HTTP basically talks about some sort of like encryption decryption methodologies which are underlying, and they are basically transferring the not the clear information, but they are transferring the encrypted information from client to server as well as from server to client. So due to this HTTP, due to the awareness of this particular HTTPS amongst the large community, now you can see the development that happened from 2014 to 2017. Okay, so there is a tremendous increase in the use of HTTPS. Okay, so earlier the HTTPS was very less. People are not bothered about where they are using the softwares, where they are doing transactions, financial transactions, and so on. But nowadays the awareness has been increased, and now the people are very much careful about this kind of transmissions. Okay, so basically why this HTTP, or what is the need of this HTTP? Because once the data that we put up in the browser, once it leaves from the machine, we don't have any kind of control afterwards. Okay, so there are so many intruders who are actually sitting in between the server and client, and these intruders are basically trying to access the various insecure, I mean, various information that is going through the particular system, and this particular system or these particular messages can be captured by the intruders, and these intruders are they are basically making the misuse of that information, and they are basically capturing maybe the transactions, maybe the credit card details and so on, and they are basically contacting to the server, and they are basically transferring some money and so on. Okay, all those stuff is happening. So to avoid this, HTTPS is very important, and that basically takes care of the encryption and decryption of the information that you transfer. Okay, so even if the users are getting, the intruders are getting the access to the information, but they will not able to interpret that information. Okay, let us understand the internet communication, how exactly it happens. You can see there is a client side scenario, and there is a server side systems available. Okay, so usually client side basically with the help of this desktop machine and the browser, the internet connection is required. Yes, and then there is a HTTP request and replies. Okay, so you can see that there is a blue line which is representing the request, and there is a red line which is representing the response from the server. So at the server side there are some other technologies, or the some like different kind of servers are available, like this is a web server. Okay, which basically having a networking operating system, or you can say server operating system, and then there is a web application server. Okay, which basically having the multiple number of various web applications in the organization, and then there is a database server as well. Okay, so whenever the company website visitor want to log into the system, he has to put up their login credentials through the browser, and they will basically contact to the server, and server will check that authenticity of the login credentials with the help of this database. And essentially those database technologies can be SQL server or Oracle or so on. There are so many different kinds of databases are available. So as per the need, the database server would be there, and then these credentials are checked here, and based upon the proper password and login credentials, the particular response will be given back to the client. The response may be from the in the form of HTML, or in the form of CSS, or in the form of JavaScript, or the images and so on. Whatever they would like to, they can do it. Okay, now everyone is using web applications nowadays, online purchasing, or any other web applications wherein you can, or online banking, you can do explore various web applications. Okay, so these web applications, how exactly they work, so we must understand how the working is there. Okay, so as all of you know, let us take an example of shopping website here. User basically explores that shopping website, and as per his choice, he will select the various items of his interest, and those items are put up in the cart of the you can say online cart, and that cart is basically contains various items and their respective prices, and this cart will be now available for ordering, and then he will put up the order as per his requirement. Okay, so again, yes, so this is connected to the internet. Through internet, that there is a another server side of the particular company, or server programming is there, and server side, at the server side. So this company network is having various different kinds of networking components as well. So here you can see there are some routers, there are some firewalls, there are some switches, there are some wireless access points. All these are the networking components. So here the idea is to make you aware about, there are so many different kinds of networking devices which are basically connecting to each other, so that the user will get the seamless connection to the internet. Okay, so first one is the router. Router's job is to get connected to different sorts of network. Okay, that is one thing. Then there is a firewall. Firewall basically again, it filters the traffic. Okay, based upon the genuine traffic, or someone is just only trying to misuse the system and so on. Based upon that, the firewall will inspect the various traffic, and he will either accept that traffic, or he will just drop that traffic. Okay, that is a firewall. Then there is a switch. Again, this switch is another networking component which basically interconnect different sorts of devices. Okay, one connection is given to this firewall and router, and one connection is given to this wireless access point. What is wireless access point? This is a kind of wireless router, you can say, in your home automation. So you basically configure a wireless access point which can be accessible from your any room of the particular flat or home, and you can access that wireless access point. So again, this is a networking device. Okay, all these are the networking devices: router, firewall, switch, and wireless. So every device has its own different functionality, and basically they all help you to get connected to the particular internet. Okay, once it is there, the order information will come into this web servers. So you can see there is another layer called as web server layer. So in this web server's job is to publish the various information on the website. Okay, so that is a web server's job. Then there is a web application. Web application basically checks the various access to the web application, whether that is a genuine registered user, or whether he is not registered but just purchasing some material from that website, and just he is logging off or what. So all those dependencies are checked by this web application with the help of database. So the database servers are also available at the bottom of this picture. So database contains all the credentials of the various users. So sometimes you, in your account, you may store your payment details, you may store your UPI details, or you may store your credit card details, or debit card details, and so on. So based upon your own needs, you can store that information, or the profile. So all the profiles of user are stored in this particular database. Okay, so this is a normal flow of information you can see. Okay, so once that database approves the user credential and so on, so he can basically go and get the response from the particular client and so on. Okay, so that is the first thing. So that was a normal functioning of web application. You can see how the attacker basically attacks on this normal functioning. Okay, now first of all, the hacker will inject some SQL commands to the database through a custom web application. Okay, so you can see here and retrieve the credit card details. So basically, let us say you have shared your username or the login credentials with someone, with one of your friend. So he may log in on behalf of you, and based upon that login credentials, you can basically uh, connect to that particular router and so on, that web server. So here you can see these particular packets basically sent to the database server, but database server doesn't know whether the genuine user has registered, I mean log into the system, or some other attacker is basically trying to access the account and so on. So that is not clear for the clear from the remote applications. So he basically trying to log in on behalf of someone else, and he will get that details of the credit card of some other person and so on. Okay, so that is the problem that may happen if you share your credentials, if you share your credit card details with some your friends or your family members and so on. So there is a threat always involved. Okay, so this is a yeah. So now we will move towards now understanding the basics of information security, what exactly the security mean and what we have to protect and so on. So first of all, we'll discuss about the data and information. As all of you know, data is basically just raw values or raw facts. Okay, like 5.2 and 5.2 and 5.6 and so on. So unless and until some meaning is associated with that numbers, it becomes only raw data. Okay, so if I am calling that 5.5 inch height, then that becomes a actual information. So the meaning associated with that data, it basically changes the context. Okay, and hence data after processing becomes information. Okay, so that is the difference between data and information. So now let us understand that information security. What do you mean by information security? So information security basically is an organizational problem rather than an IT problem, because whatever the IT is configured, IT means information technology infrastructure. So that IT is basically configured by professionals. So they will behave as per their configuration and so on. But basically that is not a like IT's problem. So it is a problem of organization. Okay, how? Because more than 70% of the threats are internal. That means the people are not aware about how to use the systems available in the organization and so on. So hence more than 60% culprits are the first time fraudsters. So knowingly or unknowingly, the frauds happen at the first time, and that frauds are basically very severe consequences has to be borne with respect to those kind of things. Okay, and biggest risk is basically people, and biggest asset is also people. Okay, so and finally the social engineering is a major threat. So nowadays people are becoming more and more social in the form of what, remotely putting their details on the website, putting their details in the Google. So what exactly the person is doing, one can track on, and that is basically becoming the very larger threat in the society. Okay, so now information and information security. Information is an asset, which like other important business assets and so on. Nowadays information is a very value, I mean, we can say any crucial kind of asset for every organization. Okay, whether it could be a financial domain, it could be a educational domain or any other domain. Okay, you can talk about R&D and so on. So everywhere the information has become very crucial and critical asset for the organization. So information security is a process of protecting the intellectual property of an organization. So information security job is to protect that information. Okay, so the protection of information minimizes the risk of exposing the information to unauthorized parties. Okay, there are some issues like confidentiality, integrity, availability of the information, which basically has to be addressed by some means, so that we can have the proper information security system in our organization. Okay, so you might have heard about this CIA triad, which is nothing but the confidentiality, integrity, and availability and authenticity or authentication. So this is a basically a heart of the information security. Okay, only these are the three representative security services, but there are some more security services as well. Okay, so we'll talk about that thing. So why information security is required? Because we have to ensure the availability of the business. Okay, let us say you can imagine if a banking service is not available at a certain point of time. Let us say it is off for 15 minutes, okay, or 10 minutes, whatever is the time. You can realize that if that service is not really available for that short period of time, still the people will get panic, and definitely it is going to hamper on the business of that total organization. Okay, whatever is the organization. So so that we cannot compromise. So that's why the availability of the information, availability of the particular service is very important aspect, which has to be taken care by the information security. That is the first thing. Secondly, we have to take care of the various risk of the loss of confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the information assets. Then, thirdly, we have to understand about how to protect the data and information systems. Also, we have to protect that brand and reputation loss. Okay. Then we have to protect the increased productivity through the best practices, higher levels of assurance, then enable the business continuity and disaster recovery. So nowadays, due to that cloud computing and cloud storage and so on, so nowadays everywhere, I mean, every organization keeping their information on the cloud, so that at any point of time, some disasters like natural disasters happens. Okay, so one can recover that data from the cloud, and the system can be again made available quickly. So that is all comes under this availability and the information security. So you might have heard about these terms like threat, vulnerability, and risk. So these three terms looks very similar, looks very kind of same, but they have different meanings in meanings. Like threat is basically any circumstance or any factor with the potential to cause the harm. Okay, so like even if we lock our offices, lock our homes, okay, but still there is a threat always there. Okay, that is one can break that lock and go inside the hall, I mean in the room or in the office or so on. Okay, so that is always possible. That is a like kind of any potential that can cause harm, that is called as a threat. Okay, then next is the vulnerability. Vulnerability is basically a weakness present in the system itself. Okay, so during the implementation, during the design of the system, some bugs still remain. Okay, and those bugs basically attackers will realize those bugs, and they basically pick up those bugs and exploit those bugs for carrying out the cyber attacks on those systems. Okay, so like social engineering kind of also help people to, like let us say if you are talking to your relatives or talking to your friends, so you can basically ask about passwords, banking usernames, and so on. So such kind of thing will happen due to the social engineering kind of activities. Okay, so I am really calling from a bank, genuine bank, and such calls will come, and in that case people, if they realize really these kind of fake calls may be there or so on, they will not respond. But otherwise, if the call is made for or call is done for, like let us say 1 lakh people, out of 1 lakh, if 1,000 people will reply, 1% of the 1 lakh people if replies, then also the job will be very efficient for the particular attacker. Okay, that is we have to understand. That is called as a vulnerability. The next is the risk. Risk is basically likelihood into consequence. Like likelihood is the probability that the particular vulnerability will occur in the system or not. Okay, that is called as a likelihood, the possibility or the probability. And the consequence is basically nothing but the severity of that impact. What will happen? How much loss will be there? How much wealth loss will be there, and so on. So likelihood into consequence total is nothing but the risk of that particular. So these are the various terms which are used in the information security domain. Okay, there are the threats which we have talked about, like software attacks, theft of intellectual property, identity theft, theft of equipment or information, sabotage, and information extortion. All these are the various kinds of threats which we can witness around us. Nowadays, many of the times such kind of threats we see in the newspaper related to the cybercrime and so on. Okay, so we'll now understand the security issues which we have to address before making any service or any kind of application available on the internet. Okay, so we'll understand one by one. First one is, this is a normal flow of the information, okay, in which sender is sending information and receiver is also receiving the information. Okay, in the second picture, you can see the interruption, the cutting of the wire, or the jamming of the signal and so on. Let us say some jammers are available in a particular domain or in a particular area. In that case, you are not able to carry out any kind of you can say connections to any other network and so on. In that case, that becomes an interruption kind of issue. Then there is a modification in which there is a third person sitting in between. Basically, he receives the information, he modifies that information, and again send it to the actual recipient. So that is called as a modification. And this modification is done with the help of some sophisticated tools which are available online. Okay. Then interception is a kind of passive attack in which the information that is flowing through the network from sender to receiver will be monitored, will be just accessed. It will not be modified, but it is listened by some other person who is not intended for such information. Okay, so that is the interception. Then there is a fabrication on behalf of this particular sender. This person is sending the message, that is called as a fabrication. Okay, and finally there is a reputation which we have to talk about. That is nothing but whether you get the information or not. Okay, let us say the sender has sent the information, but the receiver is saying that I have not received. Okay, then receiver is basically received the information. I mean, sender has sent it and saying that I have not sent it. Okay, so sender and receiver non-repetition. Basically, this is a kind of threat. This is a kind of security issue. Okay, this has to be also addressed. Okay, so even if they, so this kind of scenario will happen. Like, let us say some unwanted messages are being sent over the WhatsApp. Okay, and people are basically, even if there is evidence, people are try to say that this message has not been sent by me and so on, so forth. So such kind of evidences has to be there, so that we can prove that this message has been sent by this particular person only. Okay, so in future if some dispute happens. Okay, so that is called as a non-repudiation. So sender should not deny to send some information. At the same time, receiver also should not deny to receive that information. Okay, that is the repudiation. So whatever the things we talked about, the interruption is basically talking about the availability. So availability is the security service. Then modification is nothing but what? Integrity. So whatever the information sent from sender to receiver, that has to be received as it is. It should not be get modified. Okay, that is called as integrity. That information is available or it is in integrity with the I mean, the information has not been changed during the transmission. That has to be assured, and that is assured with the help of integrity service. Then there is a interruption. Okay, or there is just a listening of the traffic. That listening of the traffic is there. So but we can encrypt the messages and we can send that encrypted messages on the channel, so that the sender and receiver will always share that information confidentially. Okay, then fabrication, it is also called as the authenticity. So whether I am receiving the information from a genuine user or genuine sender or not, that some authentication is required, that has to be addressed. Then next is non-repudiation. Okay, so this is another kind of service which has to be addressed. Okay, so how these services have been addressed, that has been listed in this particular slide. Confidentiality, if you want to assure, then you have to go for encryption decryption algorithms. If you want to assure the integrity, then you have to go for hashing. So hashing has to be like hash value of the information that before sending and value of the hash after receiving will be calculated, and those hash values are matched. If the match is there, then you can accept that information. Otherwise, that information will be discarded. Okay. Then authentication. Authentication is assured with the help of digital certificates. Okay. So every website or you can say everyone nowadays individual is having their own digital certificates with them. So in order to get login to the system, you can basically use that thing and use that signature digital certificates. Non-repudiation is basically kind of digital certificate in which you can attach signature along with the message, so that the receiver will be having a confidence that this message has been received sent by a particular user only. Okay. And hence overall this cryptography basically plays a very important role throughout providing all these services and assuring all these services to the users. Okay. So what exactly means the cryptography? So cryptography basically is the art of secret sharing. Okay. And that is done with the help of encrypting the information, okay, at the sender side, and decrypting the information at the basically receiver side. Okay. Cryptanalysis is basically breaking the ciphers, like the information which is encrypted, it is called as a ciphertext, and the information which we want to encrypt, that is plain text. Okay, so the plain text are converted into ciphertext, and that ciphertext, if you are trying to get plain text out of it, that is called as a cryptanalysis. Okay, so these are the various terms which are used, like plain text, ciphertext. Plain text is the original message, ciphertext is a coded message. Cipher is an algorithm which is used for transforming that plain text to ciphertext. Key is basically encryption key or decryption key, that is basically required at the time of encryption process or decryption process. Okay, if you have that key, then you can easily encrypt it. If you don't have that key, then you cannot encrypt as well as you cannot decrypt the information. Okay. Encipher and decipher are the processes. Cryptography is the basically encryption principal methods used, and cryptanalysis is there. So study of both, like cryptography as well as cryptanalysis, is comes under this cryptology. Okay. So there are three types of cryptographic algorithms which you might have witnessed, which might have you have seen. That is secret key cryptography or private key cryptography, then public key cryptography, and then hash functions. These are the three different types of cryptographic methods which are used to secure the information. Now, secret key algorithms basically there is a plain text, there is an encryption algorithm, and there is a secret shared key which is available only with the sender and receiver. Then whatever the transmitted text is there, that is basically an encrypted text. Okay, so this original message is converted using this key in the ciphertext. Then this ciphertext is shared with the receiver. The receiver will decrypt this message with the help of the same kind of key, and he will recover the plain text. Okay, so that is a sender and receiver using the secret key algorithm. Using the public key algorithm, you can get this particular public key ring. Okay, that is public key. Basically, in this public key algorithms, every user is having a pair of keys. One is private and another is a public key. So the public key of the receiver will be selected to encrypt the message, and that encrypted message is sent over the channel. So there is a plain text here. Public key ring is available with every user. I will pick up one public key of this, let us say this receiver, and that public key is used to encrypt it. And after this encryption, the message is sent to this particular receiver. Since the private key is associated with this public key, okay, the receiver can only decrypt the information. So that's how basically confidentiality is achieved, okay, in the public key algorithms. Okay, second scenario is authentication. So here sender is encrypting the message using his own private key, and the message is sent over the channel. Now, as all of you know, public key ring is available with every user. So receiver will decrypt that information by using the public key of the sender. Okay, so public key and private key are very closely associated with each other, and essentially or mathematically, these two keys are multiplicative inverses of each other. Okay, so if you are multiplying with x, so basically you are actually dividing by x at the receiver. So it is kind of like that. So these are the inverses of each other, mathematical inverses of each other. Okay, so then hash function, the application of hash is basically to assure the integrity of the message. So hash value is before sending and hash value after receiving will be calculated and the match will be checked. Okay, so this is used for the particular integrity of the message. Okay, now I'm now taking you towards the cyber security. Okay, as all of you know, technology, due to this technology, we got a unexpected success. In the basic only basic connectivity was there in 90s, late 90s, and in 2000 the web 2.0 has came into picture, and specific application, specific online content has made available. Okay, in 2010s you can see application data is put on the cloud. Okay, so that is another success. And in 2020s now we can see IoT or internet of the thing, or anything with which we can connect to the internet. Okay, and so many devices you can connect to the internet and basically get the status of that particular device at any point of time. Okay, so that is IoT. Okay, internet of things. Then so due to this evolution of technology and usage and value, evolution basically created so many security problems. Okay, and at the same time there is also solutions available, but yes, we should be aware about those solutions. And we all know the fact that evolution never stops. Okay, so as the technology grows, the security problems will also grow, and yes, we have to address those kind of security problems which are associated with the technologies. Okay, so cyber security, basically, before understanding cyber security, every organization, every governmental department should be having a particular cyber security policy with them, so that anything which may happen in future can be addressed properly with that policy. Okay, basically, what is that cyber security policy? It will enable the organization to practice safe security techniques to minimize the number of successful cybersecurity attacks. Okay. At the same time, cybersecurity refers to the technologies and processes designed to protect the computers, networks, data from the unauthorized access and attacks delivered via the internet by cyber criminals. Okay. So this is basically what is basically the cyber security and cyber security attacks. Okay, so what is crime? So every crime cannot be a cyber crime. Okay. So what is cyber crime basically? So cyber crime is a computer related crime, or it can be a internet related crime, or it is a digital crime which uses high technology tools. Okay. All such crimes are happened and using such technology tools, then it comes under the cyber crime, and then the IT Act will be applicable for that cybercrime. So history of cybercrime. So as we are now witnessing that cybercrime, it is not new. Okay, it is first recorded cybercrime is in 1820. Okay, you can imagine very long back it has started. Okay, so the first spam email took place in 1978. You might be wondering about the internet has started growing in 90s. How come this in 78 and so on? So this is basically a minimal kind of connections are there, like telephone lines and so on. You, with the help of that, the ARPANET network was there. Okay, which was used by military operations and defense. So that time such kind of attacks were happened. The first virus was installed in 1982. Okay, and on the Apple computer. So Apple computers are the very olden kind of computer systems, and used and liked by many people. Okay, so that is 1982. If you go for the global picture of this cybercrime, you can see 978 million people in 20 countries affected by cybercrime in 2017. Okay, so yes, cyber crimes have been tremendously increased nowadays. Okay, here 44% consumers were impacted by the cybercrime in last 12 months. So this data actually I captured long back, maybe in 2019, 2020. So this data is very old now. Now the figures have been tremendously increased now. Okay. So what are the most common cyber crimes that basically happens, like debit credit card frauds around 38%, then compromised account and passwords about 34%, online purchase frauds happening like 33%, unauthorized access or hacking of emails or social media accounts, that is about 34%. Then clicking on the fraudulent emails or providing some sensitive information by clicking on some links. Okay, so that is around 32% and so on. Okay, so this is the most targeted picture you can see. So this is the industry sectors like software as a service or web email, 33%. There is a cloud storage, file hosting related cyber crimes. The targeted group is like 4%. E-commerce retailing kind of 4% again. And there is some financial institution kind of frauds which are happening at 19%. Payment related that is happening 21% and so on. Okay, so then mobility facts. If we see the data which is getting generated day by day is huge. Okay, you can see that on an average, people check their phones 150 times a day. Okay, can you imagine this? That's once every 6.5 minutes. I mean, it might be more for some cases. More than this is just average timing. I'm just putting it to you. More than 1.5 million apps are available in App Store. So this again data was in 2020. Now the data might have been increased a lot. Okay, and here you can see the expected growth is by 20 million by 2020 and so on. On average, each smartphone users runs around 41 applications. Uh, okay, in every phone, maybe more than this for some users. Every day, more than 100 phones are getting activated than the babies born. Okay, so that's how we are actually creating a lot of data on daily basis, on maybe hourly basis, on minute basis, and so on. Okay, so the future networks, if we talk about like anytime connection, anything connection, any place connection, okay, all these are the giving us a lot of connectivity with us, and at the same time, security related problems are also good increasing. Okay, with this, I would like to take a few questions here, and I mean, if there are some questions.
Sir, thank you so much for this session, and I think it is came out very nicely. And we will, there are some questions, sir. Like maybe I'll just put it forward on behalf of them. And in the participants, like if you have any questions, you can keep it in the chat area so that I will ask, sir. So the first question is, what is the difference between a router and a switch?
Yeah, so basically router is a specialized, you can say, networking device which is used to connect the various subnets. I mean, uh, I mean different local area networks can be connected together using a router. Router has basically two connections. One is inbound and another is outbound. So one connection is connected to the another subnet, and the next connection or the outbound connection will be to connected to the you can say another subnet. Okay, so two different networks can be connected through the uh, router. And in case of switch is having I mean n number of ports. It depends upon the size of the switch. Sometimes it is 16 port switch, sometimes it is 24 port switch, sometimes 36, 48, and so on. So it depends upon the need, in which you can connect your UTP cable and you can get the connection through the Ethernet. So that is again a networking device switch. Switch doesn't have any kind of like much you can say routing tables in it. But yes, routing or router is having some routing table. Router basically having some more intelligence than switch. Switch is just only giving the connectivity, that's it. But router is basically understands where that particular traffic has to be forwarded, which host it is to be forwarded, and so on. So the router has greater functionality into it.
Okay.
Yes.
Sir, the next question is which part of the message is getting encrypted? TCP packet or only the user information?
Whatever the communication, whatever the information you want to transfer from client to server, all that information has to be encrypted. So, irrespective of whether that is a login name, password, or whether that is just a plain message, whatever. So, every information that is basically transferred from server to client to server or server to client, it has to be encrypted so that that will become a secure communication.
All right, sir. Great. So all browsers prompt you to save passwords. How safe is it to save passwords in the browser?
Absolutely not recommended, because it basically gives us convenience. But yes, it is not recommended to save the passwords. Okay, so if you habitual to save such passwords basically, then that becomes habit. And if you use some other somebody else's machine, then you can again save that password with that machine, and so on. So one can misuse of that passwords machines if they get access to that particular machine. Okay, so it is not basically recommended to save the passwords in the browser.
Okay, I hope that Aditya sirs and CVLN, Ravi Kumar CVLN question, both the questions were addressed in this through this. And what are the threats considered as an internal one, sir?
Yeah, internal one threats means people are not aware, having awareness about the cyber security, cyber crime. They are minimal, having very, you can say, if there is a hyperlink provided, and if that person clicks on that hyperlink and enters his credentials, okay, then that happens like that will be those credentials will be taken, and a message can be broadcasted in the organization on behalf of that person. Okay, and we pretend that genuinely that person is trying to communicate with us, all of us, and then again people will start replying to that account, which account has been already hacked by someone else. Okay, so such kind of attacks are like internal, and many of the times that happens due to the awareness, lack of awareness amongst the users, how to use the network, how to use the browsers, how to use all computer systems which are connected to the internet, and so on. What kind of applications should be used, what not to be shared, and what to be shared. So all those aspects are not clear to those persons, and they may get into such kind of traps.
Okay. And sir, ma'am, like we are going to share all these presentations and YouTube link of this session by end of this session to all your registered email IDs. Okay, so you can focus on this session like what was delivered by these domain experts on various aspects. Okay, sir. And sir, I think one more question we will take. Few another 2 3 questions we will take. And how to secure keys in computer, sir?
Basically, many of the times the operating system itself takes care of the keys. Okay, you need not to bother about how to store the keys and so on, because the application itself takes care of it. Okay, so even if we are trying to understand each and every aspect now, I mean, how to encrypt it and how to basically put up that key and so on. But in practical scenario, these keys are taken care. I mean, these keys are very much safe, and these are shared. Shared with the respective. The other party, that is sender and receiver. Okay, and that application basically takes care of all those sharing and so on. So essentially, that is very safe. Only thing is your login credentials about those applications should not be shared with anyone else. That is very important.
Okay, sir. So the difference between gateway and router.
Yeah. So router, as told you that it is basically connecting to the subnets, two different subnets. Let us say there is only one router for a particular organization. Okay, and whenever the traffic has to go out of that organization, okay, in that case the internal network of the organization becomes a subnet, and the router is last point, which is basically all the traffic will go through that router to the external world, and external world can contact this organization's network through that router. Okay, this is the scenario for router. But in case of gateway, what happens if there are different networks? Okay, altogether different networks. In sometimes there is a like X.11 network. Sometimes it is a Ethernet. Sometimes it is some other network, wireless network. So whenever one has to switch from one network to another network, altogether different technology. Okay, in that whenever the technology changes there, networking technology has to be changed. In that case, the gateway will take care of those you can say heterogeneous kind of functionality. Okay, so gateway is a again connecting to the different networks. You can call it as a different kind of networks. Yes.
And what are the ISPs in India, sir? Like there is a question.
Yeah,
Who are the ISPs of India?
ISPs of India, like all these mobile service
Airtel is
providers
there
are
majorly.
basically, yeah, Airtel,
Airtel,
yeah,
yes, sir.
all these are providing the I mean internet connections.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they are selling commercially to all the subscribers.
Other vendors. Okay, okay. I think SK Gaur sir, like you are asking some questions. We can address those queries, but I don't know like how far it is relevant to all the officers who are attending also. So those questions, of course, like we can discuss about network attacks, router attacks, and all the things. I think those are not relevant in this particular session. So kindly bear with us. And if you have any questions, you can just keep it, write to us at iac@cdac.in, and definitely we will help you out. Okay, you can just send those questions at iac@cdac.in, and we will try to respond to all the queries, because the time is bit less here, right? So with this, we thank you, Sunil B Manager, for your wonderful session, and clarifying all the questions which are asked by our participants. Thank you so much, sir, and we will move on to the next session. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, participants, for listening. Yeah. Thank
All
you.
right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And yeah, of course, like there won't be any breaks. Straight away, we are moving to next session. So that session is going to be data browser, data security, browser security, mobile app security. Some of these aspects are going to be dealt as part of our session. So this session is going to be handled by our colleague Kazal Kashyap, and she is going to start the session. So over to you, Kazal, and I gave the privilege. Which two you have joined with two IDs? Like which one we have to join? Kazal, are you there? Kazal, are you
One
there,
sir,
ma?
yes sir, I'm here.
Okay. I guess I just gave that
I
permission to
think
the
sir
other.
there is some network issue. That's why I'm showing like this. Shall I join once again?
No, it's okay. I just gave the privilege. You can just show your, you can start the presentation. No problem.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. All right, Sarma, like we will have this session for next 45 minutes. In the similar way, if you have any relevant question related to the particular session, you can keep it in the chat area, so that our domain expert, Ms. Kajal Kashyap, is going to address all those queries. All right. So we are going to start this second session right away. Okay, and there won't be any break kind of thing. We will be continuing that session, and after 12:30, you can go for a lunch break kind of thing, right? So thank you, and about to Kajal Kashyap. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. All right. So a very good morning to everyone present here. So in this particular session, we are going to focus on the importance of data protection and online security in our day-to-day life. So first, let's see a few numbers. Like in numbers, let me just yeah. Here you can see in this particular slide that how much of internet are using by the people in India. Like if we talk in 2023, then we have like few numbers like 840 million internet users till now are using internet. And like till date, we have overall 840 million internet users, and 70% of e-commerce transactions are done through their mobile phones, because everyone is carrying their mobile phones with themselves. So it is very easy and convenient for all of us to do any sort of transactions, any sort of purchase things from our mobile phones. And this is very convenient, and people are using mobile phones. Then we have 50% of travel transactions are done via online mode, as we don't have to go from one place to another and stand in long queues, and we can just sit at our office table and can do any sort of bookings through our mobile phones and our laptops and desktops. Then we have 175 million online shoppers, as due to the COVID impact also, people are preferring more online shopping and switching to online mode of shopping than going from one place to another. And overall we have 2.2 billion mobile connections. In villages also, small kids are using mobile phones, they are also using smartphones. And then we have 448 million social media users overall. So this is just to give you an idea that how much of people are right now are using uh, internet. Moving to the next slide, there we have what is cybercrime. If we are talking about internet, we need to be focused on that what are the threats and the crimes that are happening on internet. So basically, everyone knows what is cybercrime, but still cybercrime can be defined as the illegal uses of any communication device. Communication device could be anything: your laptop, your mobile phone, desktop, any like device which is connected to internet, which has a network facility. So basically, this is the illegal uses of any communication device to commit, or we can say facilitate in committing any illegal activity. And a cybercrime is explained as a type of crime that uses, or we can say that targets, basically a lot of computer, a lot of devices in order to steal someone information. So this is actually cybercrime. And cybercrime also basically target a lot of we can say users, and send viruses, worms, and different type of malwares. And they also basically the criminals basically do some sort of activity using computers to commit any sort of crimes. Here you can see a line that a major attack vector of cybercrime is to exploit broken software. So basically, what are broken softwares? Whenever we are not updating our softwares and hardwares on regular basis, and you are using, unupdated operating systems or previous versions of softwares, so in some particular period of time they become weak, and this is basically the goal of hackers. They search for these sort of people who are using these kind of software, like older versions of softwares. And once they find those people, they try to hack those software, and once they hack those software, they can easily enter in your device. So this is basically the goal of cybercrime, that they will search for these sort of people, and they will try to exploit your broken softwares. Okay, here you can see three terms, that is risk, threat and vulnerability. So basically, firstly, let's see what are threats. So threat is basically like if you are having, if your device is having any sort of virus, malware. So this is basically a threat. Different kind of threats are nowadays is coming. And there we have vulnerability. So vulnerability basically means whenever like the loopholes in your devices, the weaknesses in your devices, that is a vulnerability. So we can say that a threat is usually referred to as something against which assets are being protected, and it is basically identified possibility that can be, we can say, accidentally threat can become, or we can say potentially threat can definitely come. So basically, like social threat can comes due to social engineering attack, due to ransomware, and due to like if someone is sending you virus, worms. So these are basically considered as possible threats. And if I talk about vulnerability, so vulnerability is basically a weak point, flaw, error, or gap in your security environment of an asset. And the weakness can be exploited by possible threat to force its way into getting unauthorized access to the system. There we have risk. So basically, risk is the probability of loss of an asset, or we can say exposure to threat, or we can say potentially damage from a cyber attack. So this is basically the meeting point of threat and vulnerability. And threats in common applications are basically due to if your application is having poor authentication and authorization thing, and weak server side controls and client side injections, incorrect data storage and encryptions, and unintended data leakage. If your website is using third party plugins, third party libraries, and lack of binary protection. So, this is if these things are there, then definitely there is a possibility of risk. And basically, risk depends on the number of threats that is present in your organization. And automatically, if there are threats, automatically vulnerability will be there. Here you can see that how attackers are targeting the vulnerabilities. So first of all, attacker will create, we can say, an exploit to target your software vulnerability. Firstly, he will scan your whole organization or your whole device to find the vulnerability. Once he find it, according to that, he will create a payload. Okay, now the second thing is he will send you a payload in the form of like three things. Like he can send you a payload in the form of email messages, in the form of a cloned website. Like he will send you one very famous website like Gmail, which will look like Gmail, but it is a clone of Gmail. And if you will not check the URLs and other sort of things, you will be a victim of that attack. And then we have social networking sites. So he will take, basically he will use different social networking websites, and will try to send you fake page, or fake login page, or something related to be exploit. Second thing is, he will directly scan your vulnerable servers, or we can say servers. And if your server is vulnerable, he can directly send you, or he can directly attack on your vulnerable servers. Now, what is the work of user? Here, users are fooled into executing the exploit via social engineering techniques, and then exploits may drop malware onto the vulnerable system, or allow attackers to take remote control of your system, and they can easily do anything with your device. Uh, Here you can see what are the threats in common applications that we are using nowadays. So nowadays we are using a lot of online taxi applications, education application, banking, shopping, um, apps related to jobs, chatting, hotel and travel booking applications, and online gaming. So basically, everyone nowadays is having these sort of like applications in their mobile phones. So first of all, whenever you are like downloading these applications, you need to register on those applications before using those applications. So the thing is, we are providing our all the information on those particular applications. Just a minute, just a minute, just a second. Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience. So basically, we are using a lot of applications. So first, downloading the applications, we need to basically register on those applications and provide our details there. So sometimes we are providing our whole details, like, so if the application is paid, we have to provide our UPI information, credit card, debit card information, right? So that app should be trustworthy. We should not like trust any of the application that is present in on the internet. This should be done. So first of all, what we can do basically is never ever download any application from the link that you receive on your email or on your social media applications, because that is not the right way, because that can be a phishing a link, and a malware app can be there. So never ever download applications from there. Always try to go to your authenticated store. If you are a Play Store, if you are a Android user, kindly go to the Play Store. If you are a iOS user, you can straightly go to the App Store and download all the applications from there itself. And before downloading the applications, please check the reviews and the ratings of the applications also. Mostly reviews and ratings are fake. Still, we need to analyze by checking those like ratings and reviews. And then never ever download a lot of applications in your mobile phones, like which you are not using, because we sometimes download a lot of applications and still not using those applications. So what is the point of putting that in your mobile phone? So that should be done. And these things should be, we should like remain in our mind that we should always upgrade, or we can say update our softwares and the like operating systems time to time. Okay, here you can see a very interesting image, that is the type of internet. So we have three type of internet. First is the surface web, second is the deep web, third is the dark web. So surface web consists of your 4% part of the internet out of like 100%. So whatever internet you are using till now, it's just the 4% of all the like 100%. And then we have on the second number we have deep web. So on deep web you will find all the information related to government resources, scientific resources, academic information, financial information, but only if they are vulnerable. So if those pages, those websites are not secured enough, they will you will find those pages on the deep web. And there comes dark web. So everyone knows dark web. You will be able to use dark web using tor browsers, and you can find a lot of information there itself. So this is basically just to give you an idea that like what all internet we are using. Okay, coming to this, that what actually is cybersecurity? So, cybersecurity basically is a term that is used to basically secure our information that is digitally present, or we can say that is digitally stored. We need to secure that information. And you can see as the number of internet users are increasing day by day, security threats are also increasing day by day. So, a major attack, or we can say a major part of cybersecurity is to fix broken softwares. Now in the previous slide we have seen that a major part of cyber criminals is to exploit those broken software, but here the work of cyber security experts is to find these sort of broken software, the person who are using broken software or older versions of software. They find those person and they try to patch those softwares so that attack will not be done on their devices or on their organization. Now talking about cybercrime, talking about cybersecurity, there we have three goals of cybersecurity. First is confidentiality, second is integrity, third is availability. CIA we call it. So confidentiality means if I am working in a particular organization, I should only have the right to access that particular information. No other third person can come from other organization and can view that information, right? So this is confidentiality. The information which is yours shall remain up to you. And then integrity. So integrity means if I am sharing someone some message or something, so that person should also receive that same message. It should not be changed. The meaning shall remain like same, and the meaning shall not be changed by anyhow. So that is integrity. The data shall remain same, and the meaning shall remain same. This is integrity. And then we have availability. So availability means if you are an authorized user and you need any particular resources at any particular period of time, so that is availability, that they all should be readily available at that particular period of time. So this is basically the goal of cybersecurity. It ensures that every these things are basically fully completely is there. Here you can see a very interesting chart. This is basically a chart which is related to social media. So this is actually showing you that how much of people are actually using social media in just under 60 seconds. So if you see the numbers, then if I talk about Facebook, then we have 1.4 million people scrolling on Facebook in just sorry, in just 60 seconds. And then 69 millions messages sent over Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp, which is also very huge data. And here you can see we have Netflix. There we have 28,000 subscriber watching in just 60 seconds, and 3.4 million snaps created. There is one application, we call it as a Snapchat. So here we have 3.4 million snaps created in just 1 minute, and the data is actually in millions and billions in just 60 seconds. So this is just to give you an idea that like so many people are using internet in just like these numbers are only in 60 seconds, then what about like other time? So this is just the numbers related to social media. Now, this is also very interesting. So you can see here that the question is, how does Google track you? So basically, we basically see that whenever we put any product in our cart or any product in our wish list, we see that page, we see that product everywhere. Like till now, we don't buy that product. We buy that product basically. We see that product everywhere. So basically, this is due to our mistakes because of the everyone is using these components: Google Chrome, YouTube Maps, this Hangout application, photos, calendar, Google search, Gmail, shopping, um, ads you sometimes click, and the news website. So basically, whenever we are using these components, all the information are stored there, and they basically send these information to Google, right? So basically, if you are using Chrome browser, we never delete our browser history, we never delete our cache memory. So this is one of the biggest threat that we can say. And whenever you are using YouTube, you never basically delete kind of videos you watch, what kind of videos you upload. So you never delete your search history and the watch history. And then we have Google Maps. So we never we use Google Maps, but we never delete our location visited history and the places searches history. And okay, so I will answer the uh, like question once the session will be over. And there is one application, this is Hangout application. This is mostly find out you like in Android mobile phones. So what it does basically, when you click first time on this particular application, it will ask you to make default of your contacts and conversation. And once you click yes, it will copy all your contacts and the messages. And the next time it will open your contacts and the messages folder will open through this particular app. So this should not be there. If you are using this application by anyhow, try to delete this application because it is stealing our contacts and conversation basically. And then we have photos. So here people and places are tagged on. Through that, Google is taking information. And there we have calendar. Also through calendar, it is taking information. And the queries you search on Google browser. And everyone knows about Gmail, the contacts, email sent, email content there, and the product search on clicked on in shopping applications and so on. So these are basically things which through which Google is getting all the information about us. Now, what is digital footprints? So this is the information that exists online about you and your activity. So till now, whatever you have done on the internet, it is stored on the internet with your name. So everything is there with your name. Okay. And here we need to be careful about what we are actually sharing on the internet, and where we are sharing on the internet, and with whom we are sharing that information. Because we need to be think twice before sharing that thing, because everything is storing on the internet. And there are two types of digital footprints. First is the passive, and the second is the active. So basically, if I tell you, so passive footprint is made when information is collected from the user without the person knowledge. Like if I give you a very simple example, whenever you come to your office, you first try to log in your mail or any, and you open any website. While that particular period of time, few things are already yeah, like gone. First thing is your IP address. Second thing is your ISP, Internet Service Provider information. Third is your approximate location is already disclosed with passive digital footprint, and you basically don't knew about this. And active digital footprint, basically whenever you are sharing information and you know that you have shared this information, so this is active digital footprint. If I give you example, So if you are new to Facebook, okay, so Facebook will ask you to create a profile, and there you will give all the details. Like, it is not mandatory to give all the details, still we are happily giving our information to Facebook. Like, what are our hobbies, in which school we had studied, in which college we had graduated, where we are currently working, where we had worked in the past. So these are the things that is not mandatory, still we are giving all of these information to the social media application. So this is actually active digital footprint, that you know that this is your personal information, but still you are giving this personal information on the internet with your own knowledge. So these are the basic two differences in all these, like in both of these kinds. Information is like, information leakage is there. So we need to be careful about that, what kind of websites we are opening, and what kind of emails you are clicking upon, and what kind of links you are clicking upon, because that is a threat. And one thing, we will not be able to delete our digital footprint. It will permanently remain on the internet. You will not able to delete it. So basically the thing is, we need to be careful while sharing the things, and we need to be, like, while posting the things also, we need to be careful that what can be the impact of the sharing thing on in the near future. There is one website through which you can check your digital footprint, that which application is having your data, but we'll still will not able to delete it. Let me just show you. Just a minute, let me just open my browser and I'll just show you.
Kazal actually like not able to see the presentation. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir. Now you'll
Yeah,
be
yeah.
able to
Thank you,
check.
thank you, thank you.
Yes, sir. Now.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Let
Please.
me just
Please go ahead.
This is the website. Internet is a bit slow.
Kazal, I think you have opened the two accounts now. Please close the second account because the echo is
Yes,
coming.
sir.
Echo is coming.
Okay, sir. Just a minute, sir.
Yeah, I think in the meantime, like Nanda Kishore was asking, like, what is a data protection bill? Kazal ma'am, like once you are ready, please let me know so that I can give the mic, hand it over to you. But in the meantime, I'll address some questions. And I think that Nanda Kishore sir was asking, like, what is a data protection bill? Yes, every country has its own data protection bill, sir. So I think you might have been got like what is the data kind of thing. Either it could be your name, mobile number, email ID, Aadhaar, and any such kind of information is called as a data. So which should be protected because like we have shared this information with number of organizations, right? And number of platforms and number of banks and all such kind of things. So the data should be protected. And if at all, if you are in a ministry department, you also might have been collected a lot of information from various people, right? The user information, beneficiary information, and all such kind of things. So in all aspects, in all directions, in all levels, the data should be protected. By chance, the data was leaked from any organization or any ministry or any institution, and they will be under the prosecution. And in this parliament session, the government of India is also bringing the data protection bill, and once if it is approved, the data protection bill is approved at parliament, and heavy penalizations were kept across these organizations. Okay, so I think maybe after the session we can discuss. Otherwise, if the Kazal is ready, we can just start it now. Okay, so the data protection bill is very
Yes, sir.
important. Like yeah, you please go ahead.
Okay, sir. So my screen is visible now?
Yeah, your screen is
Yeah,
visible now.
I think. Okay. Okay, sir. So, yeah, we were talking about this particular website. So here you can see that which application basically has your data. Okay, but we'll not able to delete that data by anyhow. And one more thing, when you log in into that particular website, this website will also take your data. So this is also a threat kind of. So let me just log in to this particular website and show you that how it works. So basically you have to sign in here, and you can sign in with your Gmail IDs, and then we will see what data application is having. So here there's an option of sign in with Google. So you can just sign in. Okay, I'm not using my official account because that is a threat. So I'm using one account, one different account. Yeah. So this is how it will look once you log in. So here you can see option of my footprint. So here you can see who has your data, right? So first of all, when you scroll down, you will see a lot of applications. Just a minute. Yeah, here. See all 13, because this website I have not used anywhere. So much information will not be there, but it will look like this. So if you check your like official Gmail, like lot of application has your data. So you can see here this Bitly has my data, and this SEMrush, Copy, and Lumen PDF, Pastebin, and mine. See, I told you, if you will log in through this particular website, on this particular website, this will also take your data. So this is actually the thing. It will look like this, and we will not be able to recover those data. Like we will not able to delete that data. So data can be anything in any form. Like it can have your email address. You can see type of data you share. I have shared my email address with this Bitly, and if I click on this particular, so here type of data you shared is your email address and your approximate location. So this is how digital footprints work. Let's just close this and move to the PPT. Now, the question comes, we'll not able to delete our digital footprint. So what is the method? What we can basically do? So the thing is how to preserve your digital footprint. So first of all, we need to take care of few things. Like you have to use your only first name if possible. You can also use your nicknames also, and try to avoid abundance of personal information in social media profiles when you create an account. Basically it means where it is not very much necessary, and when it is not about official thing, so you can just still give your first name, not your full name. And you can also use your nickname also. Basically if it is not official thing, and keep your passwords and personal details private, and make sure the information you shared on social media is true. That doesn't mean that you will share fake information and fool people, so that should not be also there. You need to provide the right information but in a limited way, and make sure you have check on access rights of your data by any website or application. Sometimes we download a new application on our mobile phones and there comes a pop up, and we don't read the lines and the guidelines which is basically written here. We are always in hurry, and we try to just click on the checkbox and we always proceed. So that should not be there. We basically need to check that what it is asking, what data it is asking, right? And think about who will read the information you shared online, because uh, like some people are still there was some message which was forwarded on WhatsApp, that if you will share this particular message to 100 people, your phone will be charged to 100%. Like how is this possible in real life, that you will share a message and your phone will, battery will be 100% charged? This is not possible. So we have to think these sort of things, like how is it, will is this possible if I share this thing? This is not possible. Maybe there are some malware which is inbuilt in that message. If you forward to those people, they will also have that malware, right? So this is all the scam. You don't need to be trust, and use privacy settings on social media applications. Every social media has their own privacy settings. um, it basically up to you. You need to go to their privacy settings and set the privacy according to your, and make sure the information you provided there is only limited up to you and your friends, and you like third person or like public will not be able to see any other person, any other information. And have a time limit on time spent on social media, and just spend more time with your family and friends. Okay, this is a primary threat to device security. So, what are the primary threats to device security? So, we have these basic threats like worms and virus, trojans, and spyware. So, let's also discuss what are these. Basically, a virus is a malicious executable code which is attached to another executable file, and that can be harmless and can modify or delete your data. And when the computer program runs attached with a virus, it performs such actions such as deleting a file from a computer system, and virus cannot be controlled by remote. On the other hand, if I talk about worms, so worms are similar to virus, but it does not modify the program, and it replicates itself more and more to cause slow down the computer system. And worms can be controlled by remote, and here the main objective of worm is to eat the system resources. So it will make your system or device so slow that you won't be able to use it. So this is basically the symptom that your device is like your device is infected with worms. If I talk about trojans, so trojan, or we can say trojan horse, is a kind of a malware that disguises, or we can say differentiate itself from, or we can say that pretend itself as a legitimate code or legitimate software. And once inside the network, attackers are able to carry out any action such as a legitimate user could perform, and such as exporting file, or we can say modifying file, deleting file, or otherwise altering the contents of the device. So trojans may be packed in games, or we can say tools, applications, or even software patches. So many trojans also like like pretend as a social engineering tactics, as well as spoofing and phishings to promote the desired action in the user. And here we can see spyware. So spyware basically are a kind of a software that will track your online activity. So it will install in your devices and you will not be able to know. And once you do any sort of online activity, like you try to go to your browser and try to log in your banking application or banking website, you will basically they will record all the activities there, like your passwords, like user IDs. They will record everything there in a plain text of file, and also they will display you a lot of advertisements. So this is actually, if your system is showing you a lot of advertisement, lot of endless advertisements, this is basically a symbol that your software is infected with a spyware. Okay, this is also very interesting, we can say term, that is malvertising, that is very common nowadays. So basically, malvertising or a malicious advertising is relatively new cybercrime technique that injects malicious code with digital advertisements. So they will basically, the hackers will try to search for an ad which looks very catchy to people, and they will inject one malicious code in, like, behind that, and once you click that advertisement, automatically malware will be there in your system. So difficult to detect by both internet users and publisher. These infected ads are usually served to consumer through legitimate advertising networks, because ads are displayed to all website visitors, and virtually every page viewer is at a risk of infection. So this is actually basically a new tactic, or we can say a new online attack, where malicious code hidden with an online ad infects your computer with malware. So here you can see how malvertising work. You visit a website, it does not matter if the site is a sketchy or we can say legitimate, the threat lies within the ad on the site. So once you find that advertisement very catchy, so you will try to click. So here advertisement can come in a variety of shapes, sizes, though usually appear as banners or pop-ups. So malvertising utilizes numerous tactics, such as using an iframe, invisible box that can secretly navigate to additional web pages. Okay, we have one malware analysis tool that you can, personally use. Also, if there is any confidential file, please do not use this particular tool in order to scan that particular file. Like, in your day to day life, if you receive a lot of mails and you receive a lot of files from the internet, and before clicking to that file, you need to basically check whether that file has any sort of malware or not. So for that, you can use this particular joti tool, JOTTI. So here you can just, let me just show you. This is the particular website. This is a malware scanning website, or we can say a tool. So you can just, it is actually using a lot of antiviruses. These are the antiviruses it is using: Avast, F Secure, Bitdefender, and like 10, almost 10 to 15 antivirus it is using at particular one website. So they all will scan that particular website, and if any malware virus will be there, they will basically detect you that this particular file is having virus or malware. But we will recommend to not use any, we can say, confidential file here, because you may know that it can take your data from like that file. So it is like day to day file you can just scan, but do not scan any confidential information here. It will look like this. See, you have to just once you scan a file, you will find this information. Like here I have scanned for one file, one PDF file. Size is telling you, type is telling you, and it is telling you that this, like, each and every antivirus is scanning the file at their own end. So here it is showing you in green line that found nothing, so that means the file is perfectly fine, and file is not having any sort of malware or virus. So this is how it will look. And if file is not fine, is having virus and malware, it will tell you that the file is not secure. So this is how we can basically analyze this tool in our day to day life, definitely. Okay, now we have the type of cyber frauds that are basically increasing day by day. So here you can see a lot of cyber frauds. First is increase in phishing attacks. Second is stab nabbing. Third is identity theft and donations in mass scams, ransomware attack, and keylogger. So let's quickly let's see what are these attacks and how we can prevent ourselves from these sort of attacks. Firstly, let's start with identity theft. So identity theft definitely occurs when you basically, when someone is trying to like use your personal documents. It can be your credit card, your driving license, your Aadhaar card, your PAN card, without your knowledge, and they are using it to commit any sort of fraud, and you are not aware about that. So this is identity theft, stealing your personally identifiable information, and they will use those information in order to commit any sort of fraud. This is identity theft. Here the intent is to use that identity for personal gain, for destroying others personality, we can say that, for other reputation, and the intent to defraud others. Here, information often targeted by identity thieves includes your passwords. It will include your bank account information. They can steal your password. They can steal your bank account information. They can steal your credit card information. They can steal information stored on user computer, mobile phone, such as contacts, videos, images, sensitive documents. So, the question is, what are the preventions? So, always try to safeguard your personal information as much as you can, and protect your passwords. Never ever share your passwords with anyone. And be debit card, credit card smart. You need to make sure that whenever you can ask your bank also to share a monthly transaction report with you, so that you can just check each and every month transaction, and if you find something fishy transaction, you can report at that particular period of time straightly. And next is destroy shred receipts that are not required to you anymore. So one thing I personally have seen a lot while using the ATMs. Like ATM is accessible to everyone 24 by 7. So whenever we are done with the transaction thing, there is one transaction slip. Mostly right now, transaction slip are stopped by ATMs, but still few ATMs are giving us the transaction slip, and we are just throwing that slip on the floor itself, not on the dustbin. And not like we are not tearing that slip, we are just throwing it as it is. So the ATM is accessible to everyone. Anyone can, take that slip and take that information of yours. So this is the point, that that small information is also very destroyable. So never ever do this kind of thing. Whenever you are done with the transactions, if you are getting that transaction slip, you need to just tear it in small small pieces and throw it in the dustbin, not on the floor. And review your records regularly, whether it is your bank, whether it is any other account. You need to check that what is happening with your accounts, and be cautious with phishing links, and monitor your online accounts time to time. If you are on social media, you need to check that what is actually, is there any phishing thing is going on with your social media app, like account or not. And be careful with public wi-fi. Whenever you are using public wi-fi, do not do any sort of transactions. And try not to connect using like try not to connect public wi-fi. But still, if there any emergency, try to stop do any sort of transactions. Now, what to do if you are a victim of identity theft? Simply, you need to change your passwords as soon as possible and report it to your nearest police station. And you can also contact your bank that this thing has happened with you, as soon as possible. Just do not wait. And then the second cyber fraud, that is a keylogger. So basically, keyloggers are a kind of, we can say, softwares and hardware. Basically, these are of two types. First is the software and the hardware. If I talk about the software, so basically, this is a small software which will record each keystroke. Like whatever you type with your keyboard, it will record each and everything, and basically store that information in a plain text file. Like if you type on if you go to Google and type something, like if you find some books or something like that, it will keep that thing also in a particular plain text format file, and you will not be aware of that. So this is basically the power of keylogger. Okay. And then second type of keylogger we have is hardware. Here you can see the image. So the work of both the keylogger is same, like hardware and software both are same. But in case of hardware, you can see that small black device which will basically store your all the keystroke, whatever you type on a specific computer keyboard, it will store everything in a plain text format file. So this kind of keylogger or this kind of device you will mostly find out in cyber cafes, in public cyber cafes. Nowadays people are not using cyber cafes, but still, in case of any emergency, if you basically need to use any cyber cafe, you basically try to check is there any kind of device there or not, or if you go to a specific organization also, you need to check this thing before using their systems. Now, phishing. What is actually phishing? So phishing is basically sending you a link that is a malicious, and once you click that link, a cloned website will open, like a fake website will open. It will ask you some information, and if you give that information, uh, you are gone. So basically here the phishing is done in few steps. First is attackers send phishing mails to the target, and what target will does, victim will click on the phishing link and visit the fake website. Like in case of Gmail, he will think that this is a original Gmail page, and he will just like try to log in their Gmail page. Once he click on sign in option, straightly his username and the password will be straightly going to the hacker. So this is actually the scenario. Here hacker will use the victim's credentials to access the private information on the original website. Here we have basically put up few examples of phishing websites. Like here you can see in this example, this is www.gmai1.com. So here you can see this in a like proper zoom way, but if someone will send you this in a particular website, so you will not be able to basically differentiate that this is a fake website or a genuine website, because we never check the URLs, we never check the spelling of the URL, right? So there is a very minor changes. Like here in ICICIbank.com, instead of 6 they have, instead of B they have used 6, and in Bank of Baroda instead of O they have used 0, and same for the Yahoo, they have used 0 instead of O. So these are basically the kind of phishing tactics that hackers are using nowadays. So the question is how to basically check the website is actually a fake website or a genuine website without using any sort of tools. Because in our day-to-day life, we don't have much time that we will use this particular tool. And so there are few very basic steps. Let me just show you. Uh, Let me just open CDAC website. Yeah. So how will you detect whether the website is a genuine website or a fake website? First of all, let's just open it. Okay. So first thing, you will see whether the website is having the HTTPS or not. So in our case, HTTPS is there. Second thing you will see, basically you will check the spelling of the URL. So you will carefully check the spelling of the URL. This is www.cdac.in. So everything is fine here. This is also fine. So second two points are clear. Third point is basically, just a second. Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience. Yeah. So 2 points are clear. You will check the HTTPS. Second is you will check the spelling of the URL. Third thing is you will check this padlock. Okay, this is a small lock which we call it as a padlock. So it should be there, and once you click here, it should look like this, that connection is secure and certificate issued to Center for Development of Advanced Computing. Now you need to click on this connection secure. Here you will see you are securely connected to this website and certificate issued to this particular. So now the last thing will be you need to check the digital certificates of that particular website. If the website is genuine, it should have a digital certificate. Now here there's an option of, in the security, there's an option of view certificate. You can just click here and can see this is the digital certificate information here. If the website is fake, they will not be having these all particular checkpoints. So it will take basically 1 minute or 2 minutes in day-to-day life, and you will be able to easily analyze whether the website is actually genuine or not. Okay. There is also one tool that was about the manual thing. but there is also two tools. First is the Netcraft. So this is actually a browser extension that you can use in order to check whether your website is a genuine website or a fake website. So this will basically tell you detailed site reports, risk rating, and basically tell you whether the website is a phishing website and a fraudulent website, and also protect you from cross-site scripting attacks. So basically, all in all, this extension will only work in the Chrome browser. This will not work in any other browser except the Chrome browser, Google Chrome browser. So let me quickly show you. So here we have, you need to just uh, open your Chrome browser, and you need to just type here Netcraft. I think I have. Uh, no, I don't have. So all you have to do is just click here, add to Chrome, and now add extension, and you are done. It is here. It will show you here. This is the extension tab. Once you click here, you will see all the extensions here. Yeah, it's here now. You can see Netcraft extension. Now your second thing is, you will open any website. Okay, like I am opening any website. This one. Now what I'll do, I just click here, and I just click on the Netcraft extension. Here you can see all the details here, that this particular website is of US, and the site rank is 0, risk rating till now it's 0, and host is from amazon.com. And the other details, if you want to see more information, you can click on site report. It will show you more information. I am not accepting the cookies. See, you will see all the network information, all the SLS TLS information, and you will see a lot of information related to hosting history of the particular website. Also, it is using operating system Linux, and web server it is using Nginx till now. And last it was updated on 19th, yeah, like yesterday they have updated their like server. Okay, so these are the details that you can see on for different websites, and can analyze whether the website is actually a fake website or a genuine website. Next we have is Shodan. This is also similar to Netcraft extension. Okay, and basically this is also a search engine, and we can say this is also a browser extension that will basically tell you that if the website is using any sort of routers, webcam servers, and different kind of variety of filters it is using. So basically this will tell you where the website is hosted, the country, the city, what is the IP address, what services it is running, what open ports are there. Okay, so let me quickly show you for this also. You just need to write the whole thing, extension, this one, and just click on add to Chrome in a similar way, and add extension. Yeah, you are done. So same website we will check, like click here. See, you can see IP address, you can see host name, you can see the cloud service provider, you can see the vulnerability also. In the Netcraft, you cannot see the vulnerability, but here you can see vulnerability, and open ports are here. So these are basically, very much useful tools that you can use in your day-to-day life, and very basic tools. And once you install it, you will not able to do any other settings on daily basis. Okay, so here like this we can use these particular tools. And yeah, these are all the screenshots. Okay, coming to the next fraud type that is we have is tab nabbing. So here in this particular example, you can see a person is actually accessing a lot of tabs at one time, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tabs he is accessing at one time. So kindly look, like concentrate on the first tab. What user is doing basically? User is accessing a lot of tabs, like other tabs except the first tab. So he has not came back from like on the first tab from past few minutes, and he's busy in accessing other tabs. So what will happen with the first tab? This is of electronics in the cars, the eBay page. So he is busy in accessing all the other tabs except the first tab. Now after few minutes, the first page will start showing this particular word connecting, and user is not aware of that. So when the user will come back to that page, he will see that this is a Gmail page, and he didn't remember that what page he had opened, like on the first tab. He thought, okay, let's just sign in with my Gmail username and the password, and just see what what emails I have received. So once you click your username and the password, it will straightly go to the hacker, and you will not able to basically do anything. So this is actually a tab nabbing attack, and this is very much possible in real life. So how to prevent this? Basically, do not open a lot of tabs while working, and like in few minutes you need to refresh your browser after returning back from the other tabs, and you need to check the URL correctness, like check the URL spellings and all of the things, because in this case if you will look carefully, this is actually gmai1.com. This is not gmail.com. Also, it doesn't have any HTTPS, it doesn't have any padlock, anything. Okay. So this we need to be taken care of, and avoid financial transactions on tabbed browser definitely. And you can use private windows for any sort of financial transaction. So every browser has their private windows. You can go there. If you use a private window, it will not save your history. It will not save your cache memory and other things. So you can just log in, sorry, you can just go to the private windows for doing any sort of financial transactions. Talking about this particular cyber fraud, that is ransomware. Ransomware is a kind of a malware. So basically we have two types. First is the crypto, other is the locker. So in crypto ransomware, basically what hackers are doing, hackers are encrypting your files and the folders until you provide them some sort of ransom. Whatever they will ask, you need to provide them, and they will provide you the key to decrypt that file in the folder. And in case of locker, your whole system will be shut down, and you will not able to basically use your whole system until you pay some ransom to the hacker. So basically these are both of the difference in both of these. Okay, talking about password security. So we have various techniques used by the hackers to retrieve your passwords. First one here, the image you can see is a shoulder surfing. So in shoulder surfing, what is actually happening? You are actually sitting on your office desktop and try to log in on a particular mail or a particular website with your username and the password. So someone is standing behind you and looking at your screen, but you are not aware of it. This is shoulder surfing. Someone will try to look at your screen and will try to steal your username and the password. Also in public places, whenever we are using lift, we are so much busy in our mobile phones, we forget that lifts has cameras, and they can detect our screen, and whatever we are doing it on the screen, they can capture that. So this should we must be taken care of. And second thing is, this the book you can see here is dictionary attacks. So dictionary attacks, basically if you will think that you will take a like difficult word from the dictionary and use it as your password, so here you are wrong, because we have different tools through which they will scan whole of the dictionary words in few seconds, and your password will be stolen in few seconds, like crack will be few seconds. And third is brute force. So in brute force, hacker will try to first perform social engineering tactics on you, and then when he knows a bit about you, he will try to guess your password. In that case, if you are using weak password or passwords like your mobile number, your like any relative name, your any name, any like common password, in that case it can be easily broken. So basically we should always keep in mind that we do not write our passwords anywhere and give our passwords over anyone over phone, and do not send passwords through mail or any social media applications. So what can be basically done, we need to be switched to a technique which we call it as a passphrase. So in passphrase, basically we can take our favorite sentence. Like in my case, my favorite sentence is never judge a book by its cover. So you will take your own favorite sentence and you can create your own password. It will be very easy to remember and you will not forget that password. So like in this case, I have taken small n from never, and I have taken j from judge, and at symbol from a, which is looking similar, and 6 from b, which is just looking similar, and again 6 from buy, and exclamatory mark from I, and capital C from cover. So like this, I have my strong password with all the like special characters, numbers, and alphabets. So I have this, and I will not basically forget this password, and I can easily remember this password. So this is a basic technique that we can use in order to remember our passwords. Also, it is recommended to try change your password at least in like 20 to 25 days. It is very much recommended. Now, what are the preventions? So, always refresh the browser after returning back from other tabs, and you need to avoid phishing emails, questionable websites, and use private browsing. Definitely, if you are doing any sort of transactions, uh, please use private browsing, private windows, and always use updated antivirus software. Nothing is freely available on the internet. If they are giving you free antivirus, they are also taking your data also. They are stealing your information. So never ever trust on the free softwares that is there on the internet, and increase your browser security settings. Whatever browser you are using, there are security settings there. You can just go there and set the security things according to you, and avoid financial transactions on tabbed browser. First of all, do not open a lot of tabs, and in this way you will be basically you will not be a victim of tab nabbing. And do not fall for the advertisements that tempt you into downloading free softwares. And by the end of the day, always clear your cookies, cache, and history on daily basis, and disable auto connect when joining the wi-fi's, and never use passwords for wi-fi, and always try to change the default of your passwords, like wi-fi passwords, like uh, default is like admin, so you need to change that passwords, and disable your wireless home network while you are not at home, and do use two factor authentication on everything possible. Two factor authentication is basically once you try to log in, and then one OTP will come. When you give that OTP, then only you will be login into that particular website. And do not install apps from the third party. Always try to record your IMEI number. This is actually a 15-digit IMEI number. In case if your mobile is lost or stolen by anyhow, this should be there. This should in order to register any complaint, or register any complaint in the cyber cell also. And never open email attachments with the file extensions such as VBS, HS, and PIF. And never open web links in your email. Always type links in the web browser, and always use email transactions through secured mail sites, and never download anything from the email that when the sender is unknown or the attachment has a doubtful name. You need to basically look carefully. And definitely never trust on the icons in the email attachments. The virus file may be shown as a PDF. And never send your photographs through any sort of, we can say, social media applications to unknown persons. Here we have only made it to the conclusion in this particular 1 hour of session that the only system that is truly secure is the one which is switched off and unplugged. And so only way is to be pay like safe is to pay attention and act smart while doing anything on the internet. So the mantra of online safety is to pause and think before you connect, secure yourself, and so that you can secure the nation. So thank you, stay safe, stay secure, and Yeah, thank you everyone. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Yeah, thank you, Kazal, for your wonderful session, and I think you have covered whole lot of and whole gamut of information security. Thank you so much. I think like there was a question which is related to the data protection bill. If you can highlight, if you have something, you can highlight. Data protection bill. Hello.
Sorry, sir. Yes, sir.
Data protection bill.
Data protection bill.
Yeah.
Sir, shall I explain that bill format?
No, I'll just tell them the brief about that. So like every country has, as I told you, every country has its data protection bill. So in India also, like we were trying to bring that bill from 2020 or so, and different deliberations were happened. And in this particular parliament session, the ministry is planning to bring that data protection bill. Once if it is approved, I think it will be commenced immediately. So the data protection bill is whole, it talks about like how do we secure the data. So the user, as Kazal was mentioning, so the user has sharing a lot of information. Either it could be their mobile number, email data, financial transaction data, and all such kind of things. So the end, the vendor, like where you are submitting your details, that should be protected in a secure manner. That is one thing. And ministries and departments are also collects a lot of data, so that data also should be protected properly. Otherwise, the data can be misused, and that the data may be available in somewhere outside the surface web. So that may lead to some kind of dangers. So to avoid all such kind of thing, to protect the user data as well as privacy, the government have India has I'm just telling the summary, it's not fully. And the government of India has brought out the data protection bill to protect the user data.